Well, folks, here we are again for the weekly forecast. During this last week, we've seen two significant storm systems move across the Plains region. The first one come late in the weekend, carried on through Monday, resulting in blizzard-like conditions across the Dakotas. Here in Nebraska, we got more of the wind. 55 to 65 mile-an-hour gusts were reported commonly across the eastern half of the state, slightly less across the western part of the state. The only significant snow accumulations that we've seen came from northwest and north central Nebraska. Most of those were right along the South Dakota border. The more important storm system came out of the southwest in the Wednesday-Thursday time frame. We generated severe weather across portions of eastern Kansas, Oklahoma, and then that congealed and moved into a complex across Missouri and Arkansas before eventually reaching into the Ohio River Valley. Broad-based precipitation with this entire system was between 2 and 8 inches in these areas. Further north, we were basically in the cool sector here in Nebraska, so we've seen a combination of light rain, drizzle, and accumulating snowfall, particularly from southwest and northeastern Nebraska. And most precipitation totals were under a half an inch, but at least we had enough moisture to keep the fire danger down for the next couple days. Now, there is some shots for precipitation during the next couple days, although they're light. Most of the main activity should remain to our south. So let's take a look at the upper air model and see what we have in place. Here's our storm system that impacted us during the midweek period. Is now moving offshore. We have another system moving through the southwest that expected to strengthen as it moves eastward. And then this delineates basically the cold air to our north and then the warm air to our south. So for here in Nebraska, we're kind of caught in between both areas, and fairly benign conditions today. As clouds will increase, the day progresses, but we should be a fairly nice day with a possibility of isolated showers across western Nebraska, particularly in the afternoon and evening hours. We go to tomorrow, we're essentially looking at this trough bringing moisture up to the east of us. Some of that may make it into southeastern Nebraska, and we may actually see some precipitation breaking out right along the leading edge of the cooler air that's trying to work its way southward, but overall just mostly cloudy with just isolated pockets of showers across the state. So we get into Monday, that system really starts to crank itself up across the eastern Corn Belt, and on its backside it's going to pull some cold air along from southern Canada down into our region, so there is a chance for generating snow activity across north central northeast Nebraska, especially during the overnight hours, but most of this should escape through us as we get to the first half of Monday. It's further south, we'd be looking at a scattering of shower activity. Now by Tuesday, we start to see the ridge building in. Very warm conditions across western Nebraska, mid-60s looks possible. In eastern Nebraska, we'll still deal with the cool air, and we'll be probably more in the 45 to 50 degree range. Now as we get into Wednesday, ridge sits over the center part of the country, very nice warm conditions. 75 looks to be common across southwest Nebraska. We'll be looking at mid-60s across northern Nebraska. We'll start to see some of that cool air lag as we start to see or push down, and that will drop our temperature about 5 to 7 degrees. And we'll see an increase in cloudiness late Thursday, but overall not a bad day. On Friday, we start to see the trough working in. That may generate some isolated thunderstorm and shower activity across eastern Nebraska. And then as we look at our forecast for temperatures for the week, we're looking at cool conditions for the next 4 days before we start to look at a warming trend midweek, and then a slight cool down next weekend. Look to the temperature forecast next Thursday, following Tuesday. Cool to our north in terms of precipitation with that low coming out of the west, above normal moisture.